Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are here again with another episode of GSM Live. I am Melissa Acid Sunshine, and today I have the pleasure of being joined by these wonderful gentlemen here. Go ahead and introduce yourselves. Let's start with Hitzel.
Hey, what's going on? I'm Hitzel. I'm a competitive player, streamer, co-admin in the academy, just a tournament, so feeling good about that.
Nice. And we're going in order of my screen. So above him, we have that guy, Negus, Kendall. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, you guys know who I am. Negus. I'm here. What's up? How's everybody doing?
And of course, we have a special guest today, that SRB2 dude.
Hello guys and welcome. Just that I'm dude. That SRB2 dude, olive dude, whatever you want to call me, on all platforms and all that. Yeah, I'm a competitive player.
I want to adjust your camera a little bit here.
I can just set up.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, it's a work in progress, you know. So there we go. Your head is less cut off now. I've lowered you a little. Okay.
Don't cut his head off. He needs that.
Sometimes. So we are here with our episode 7. There has been a lot of talk this weekend about mid-level team growth, so that's going to be a huge topic we're going to discuss today. But the first thing we're going to dive right into is our own GSM Grand Prix, which we started GSM Grand Prix 2 last weekend, or the weekend before last weekend. So we had our first qualifier of GSM Grand Prix 2 with Team Olive. Thank you, dude. Congrats. Taking it. There were 27 teams that signed up for our first event, so it seems like it's going to be a really competitive environment for players, and it was majorly like top Western teams that signed up. So it's a good opportunity for some mid-level teams to jump in there too, because when you have only 27 teams, you can really get your feet wet, have an opportunity to face everyone, lots of different kind of sparring partners. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Yeah, I think that GSM events in general have always kind of done a good job at reaching out to like top teams. Like even as far back as like GSM Elite, it just seems that like whenever those tournaments happen, it's just a bunch of like really strong teams fighting each other.
Very true. Very true. So since you're here, dude, we can talk a little bit about how it went for you guys, because I'm sorry, the notes that I read, I'm like, FT win.
I'm watching.
I know.
You're on the Google Doc. You're like, oh no.
On my what?
On the Google Doc, I can see where your mouse.
Yeah, you can see where my mouse is going, and I'm like, wait a second, it says taking it, and then I'm like, no. So that was my fault. Oh, I'm so embarrassed. Okay, so. But Team Olive,
I wanted to say something.
You should have. But Team Olive is qualified because you guys are in the lead for our standing with 120 points. I wish I had that. I wish I had that.
No,
document.
you're still looking at you're combining the two things together.
I know. No, I know. No, I know.
Okay.
Let me finish my thought. Fee to win won Grand Prix, but in terms of our qualifying points, Team Olive is in the lead with 120 points right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because of all of the events that you guys have played. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to get this.
Yeah, I think it's like mathematically impossible for them not to qualify, right? Like even if other teams just win everything and Olive doesn't get any more points, I don't think it's possible for them to not qualify.
Correct.
It's because it's like speed ladder and that as well, right?
Yeah, because of the speed ladder and because you guys have played in multiples of those and how well you did within Grand Prix. So with all of that, so I'm sorry. I was trying to get that out, and I think I think I can retire now as host for today. And we can get Prodigy in here instead, and maybe everyone will feel better about that. So that being said, okay. So Kendall was the one who had written up these questions, and one of the things he asked is, can we talk about Olive's ability to flip a switch when their backs are against the wall? Did you want to elaborate a little on what you were talking about there, Kendall?
Well, if you saw that, I know that for pools, it was a little bit rough on your guys' side. Like I know that in pools, it was you guys got 3-0'd by for the win, and then by DB. So it was kind of like after a while, like you guys had like a rough patch, and then you just like flipped the switch and then got back into like Rams. It still wasn't easy, but it was kind of like just asking you basically like how do you guys like flip that switch to basically go on all the way back up into Grands, even though you guys didn't win it, but it's still like an accomplishment of pulling back together, even though it was a rough start.
I just think it's like when it comes to Olive that we, as a unit, do a really good job of just not letting things get to us. Like maybe for a few, maybe it'll just be like a little bit hard, but like there's just like members like I guess myself, Sandow, and Brian are always just like, we've lost, we've done it. I mean, it's happened before, but it's not that. It doesn't really exactly mean that we're out of the tournament. So just play our games and just win, basically. And like partly, like I mean, I don't really like saying it's because we didn't scrim. I mean, we didn't really scrim. We haven't exactly played as Olive for like 2 months before because of the world champs.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like it was a kind of a thing where we were trying to like figure ourselves out again. So that's maybe partly why we struggled quite a bit. I mean, just a few things that we need to really work on. But I mean, other than that, it's just trying to keep cool, whatever. Because like, I mean, even if you watch our VODs, I think like you can always see it in the comms where it's always like consistent comms like going throughout, and we always try to make that a rule of keeping it like that, despite being in a hard position.
I think the amount of teams that have issues with like tilt and stuff like that will probably hear an explanation like that and be like, oh crap, we need to do that.
Yeah.
It's helpful. Like tilt, like I try to express it so many times as that's like when you tilt, doesn't matter what game it is, like doesn't even matter just what doing. Like when you start tilting, you start thinking about why you're tilting, and because you're thinking about that, you're not even thinking about what's happening in the game. So it throws you off so much, and it's such an important thing for any sort of competitive play to really like get to grips with and just like think, I need to stop and just think about the game, So
What kind of things do you do to like get yourself out of that mindset? Because I think that's something a lot of people struggle with, but maybe give an option of like, do you get up and walk around? Do you take a minute and like scream it out your window, or any sort of way to deal with that?
I'd say like, so let's just say that we've lost the game, or okay, not a game, but like a set. Like I guess for me, what I try to do is I just go straight to the training room and just like start shooting the dummies nonstop until we get our next game, just to like think, just stay warm, basically. Just think about winning instead of losing. Just thinking about going over things about what I'm gonna do in the map, what we're gonna do in the map, and all that, and just trying to not think about what just happened, basically.
Yeah. Good. I mean, I think that's kind of the best advice that you could have for it, because so many people do have trouble with that. So, distract yourself with practicing to be the top of your game, right?
Basically.
As you are the top of your game. So we'll talk a little bit about FT Win. They dominated in pools, only dropping 1 game to Team Upgrade. And then they were having some trouble against Front Kids and then Low Key. But in the end, they were able to win the 2 sets and, took things over to you guys. There was actually one thing while we were casting that event that I was thinking during breaks. I'm like, why isn't Olive picking clams for your counter pick mode? Because we know that you guys tend to do that sometimes, and you do excel at clams. So that was like my personal like, no, I want to see more clams.
I think it's mainly because it was like the maps that we least practiced on compared to all the other ones we picked. So we just kind of stuck to what we already knew.
Yeah.
But that's kind of just of it though. But like I mean, even if we did pick it, I mean, we probably would have done. We may have done better. I don't know. But like, just to say though, like, FT Win is like not the same team that they were like 2-3 months ago. They're so much better. It's actually really insane how much better they've actually gotten.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, during the games, I could not kill Shaq to save my life ever. Like, he has gotten so much better. It's insane.
Wow.
So
It's because they practiced, right? I know Shaq was memeing about that on Twitter, how they were finally actually practicing together before Worlds.
For sure. Like, they are definitely up there. For sure.
Well, I guess you could say that's a point because they, as a team, got to practice with each other. So, like you said, the 2 months before, you guys were practicing for individual things. So I guess that does play a factor into it. So I guess they were the only team that actually got to be a team with each other for the whole entire time. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Sweet. So with the amount of top level teams showing up to these events, should more mid-level teams be signing up so they can test their skills against the best of GSM Grand Prix? Or is it kind of, something that they should fear that they can't really do it? In terms of like, how do we get more mid-level teams to understand how important it is to sign up for these events? And all three of you have been on teams before. Kendall, I know you're retired from competitive Splatoon playing, but definitely I think that you bring really good insight. So why don't we go ahead and start with your thoughts here?
Mine?
Yeah.
My thoughts. You want the least important thoughts of everybody else. All right, cool.
We're gonna go from you to Hitzel to Dude. How does that sound?
So I mean, like you look at a tournament like this, and you look at all the teams that signed up, and then you look at, I guess, the fact that you don't have. Maybe it's on the fact that maybe we didn't market well, or is it like people are afraid when they look at it, and then they look at like the teams that got like absolutely destroyed, and they're just like, I don't want to be a part of that. So I like, for me, it's interesting because then you look at the scenario of it, people say they're like, oh, there's not enough practice, there's not enough this, but you had an opportunity to like coming next week where a good amount of these teams will still probably sign up, and you have an opportunity to play against these teams. And now it's kind of like, are they going to sign up? Like, hopefully we get more people sign up. We want you to sign up. I don't know if DJ is going to do what he did last time when he was trying to get more people to sign up for it. But it seems like there's been like this like standard of you have like more high level teams that sign up for this, and then other teams are kind of just like, I'm gonna stay back from this one. It's kind of like, why? And for me personally, I don't know how to answer that. Like, it's that even for me, I guess that's like the theme of everything today. Like, how do you get them more involved or want to be involved for this? I don't know. So that's a hard one. Like at the same point in time, it's like you get an opportunity to play against these teams, but then at the end of the day, they're just like, I'm just gonna. So for some people, I guess it's like I'm just gonna get beat anyway. So why am I gonna sign up? So with all these teams signing up on it, so I don't know. For me personally, I don't know. That's why I asked.
All right, so Hitzel, what do you think about it?
I mean, I think that so I think that like there's definitely something going on where like mid-level teams, they see an event like this where they know it's just going to be like a bunch of high-level teams, and it's like, oh well, we're just going to like get beat anyway, or like, oh maybe you're afraid or something like that. But I think that that's the wrong way to look at it. I think that and I already kind of mentioned it and got a giggle out of Kendall, but like the GSM Elite I think is a good example because for that was like it was an experimentation with money structure and like paying to be into the tournament and stuff like that. And that scared away a lot of mid-level teams. So it was basically like all high-level teams. But then you had, what was the one they had, like their clan tag was 00. They changed, they got sponsored, but I forget what the old name was. They're MMC now. They used to be like, they were like, it was like
Magistrate.
Yeah, Magistrate. What was their old team?
I can't remember.
Well, those guys, like they signed up.
License to Krill.
Right. GSM. Yes, License to Krill. That's what they were back then. So and they signed up for the GSM Elites, and they like fought really good teams, and they got beat, but they actually like won like a few games, and I think like a few matches and stuff like that, and they got a lot of experience out of that. Like it. You want to be able to see these opportunities as like especially like mid-level teams are like, oh, we never get to like to scrim high level teams or something like that. When you sign up for these tournaments, like you're going to face those teams because that's what happens. You face the other teams in the tournament and you eventually lose to a team that's better than you. And you can go into those situations like it isn't like a factor of like your ego or like getting upset about losing. Like, no, this is like your opportunity to actually fight that team and see and see what they do to you. You know, because you can like watch like some YouTube videos or just kind of like know what the general strategies are and stuff like that. But sometimes actually being in the match with players that are better than you and actually watching it happen and seeing how effective it is when it happens to you, and you're like, oh, that's what they're doing to people. Like, I can't do this thing that I'm used to doing because this player did this. Like, now I understand why these things happen. I understand why they're good in it. And if you can go in it with the right mentality of not like I'm gonna be upset when I lose or anything like that, or well, I'm gonna lose anyway, so I'm just not gonna be confident. If you can go in and just have a clear mind and just get something out of the experience, like that's great. And if you do that enough times, you'll also eventually get like the win that can like give your team a lot of motivation and stuff like that. And I just think that if you go for enough opportunities, eventually one of them is going to work out for you. And if you're not going for those opportunities, you're never going to get that experience.
Yeah.
Hmm.
What do you think about it, dude?
Honestly, everything Hitchell said, I was gonna say. Dang it.
I'm sorry.
But I just want to like put an example, a good example of that, of I could say mid-level team that now has improved so much and is competing at the top level that did exactly that. Astro is a French team. Literally, like these guys have been grinding. They've been always joining the team, the tournaments that a lot of the top level players and teams usually join. And because they keep doing it, they always continuously get better and better every single time they do. And now they're at the point of they're competing. They're pretty much at the same level as us. They're making it so much harder for us to actually win.
Mhm.
And you know, it's just a much better competition now at this point. So when it comes to facing them, so you know,
They're like
and now it's
indistinguishable.
yeah, and now it's like because of that too, like since we continuously see them over and over again, they keep trying and they keep challenging us and they keep better as soon as they come back over and over again. Now it's a thing where, as a top level team, we want to go ahead and scrim them now. Like it's like a thing that gives you guys opportunities to, you know, like joining tournaments. It makes you guys known to the top level teams. So every single time you do face them, you know, now there's more a potential chance that a top level team's going to want to scrim you because now, you know, since you're getting better, we can, you know, scrims happen more easily. So that's what I think.
Yeah. I think that's a good point. That kind of role reversal that happens, that at some point you go from being a mid-level team that is begging top-level teams to scrim you to a top-level team yourselves where everyone is kind of asking you, hey, can we still scrim? And it becomes secondhand to sort of be scrimming the people that you tend to face within these tournaments.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like, I mean, some people complain about it, like, oh my god, top level teams just never come and scrim, just, you know, anyone. But like, just look at it like this. Let's switch it to Smash for whatever reason. Let's just say I'm Hungry Box, and then there's this other guy that's just come into the game. All right, I as Hungry Box wants to go and practice against this guy who knows literally nothing about the mechanics about the game or hasn't played the game enough to really understand what's going on. It just doesn't make any sense for me to play against this person if it's just going to be a thing where that person who just played against me didn't learn anything, you know, other than just being, we got destroyed. How did we get destroyed? You know, so
Yeah.
that's just how I see it.
But I think that's probably the most important part of scrimming is we got destroyed. How did we get destroyed? And some teams, I know you and many of your kind of, I want to call them, I don't know, cohort friends are willing to talk to these other teams and say, well, this is why. This is one thing that I saw that you did wrong. this is something that, you could have done better. And that's like a main thing that a lot of these mid-level teams, when you do have an opportunity to scrim a team that's better than you, don't be afraid to ask, hey, can we get some suggestions on how to improve our play? Because so many players are willing to talk to people. And I think that's something that within this kind of Twitter hailstorm over the past weekend, a lot of people were saying, well, we don't want to ask top level players or they don't want to talk to us, which is simply untrue. Everyone
Very.
within the community is willing to talk to everyone.
Before we hop onto that topic, this also goes back to the previous question where it's like, well, if you join a tournament, you're going to get matched up against a high level team and they're not
Yeah.
going to be able to say no, you know.
Mhm.
Like,
Basically,
if like
yeah.
if I fight Olive in pools, Olive can't be like, oh, sorry, you're not the opponent that we were expecting, we're gonna
Yeah.
skip this round, you know. Like, it doesn't work like that.
I guess that's
Could you
where like what I
imagine?
was saying with like the confusion of like, getting more people to sign up for these things, because I feel like when you have something, especially like the whole blow up of mid level teams and whatever, and people asking like, "Yo, we need to find this for to practice this, that, and the other," and like obviously you don't want to go into a tournament and try to like basically go practice. You're trying to win, but you can learn something from every tournament that you join. So once you see like certain names just sign up on the list, you should just be like, "Yo, they signed up, I'm there." But
Mm.
it's like the opposite. It's like, nah, I'm gonna go to the other thing because that team's not there and I have a better chance of winning. So yeah, we're gonna go the opposite direction. But why?
I mean, you're supposed to play in the tournament, and then after the tournament, you're supposed to look back at what happened and be like, okay, what can we do to fix whatever's wrong or improve on whatever we did right? And then you spend the next week with a goal working on it. And then the next tournament comes up and you try it again, and maybe it worked, maybe it didn't, you learn something. And it's like, if you're not actually having that like anchor of like, here's a tournament, here's how we performed, here's how we lost, we got to do something about it. It's at that point you're just like, well, I just want to go beat another team and say that I beat another team. Like, it's not, you know what I mean? Like, it's not the same.
Mm. I guess.
Yeah, I think you can kind of use both of those, that we are in a place right now within competitive Splatoon online. The summer has so many opportunities for teams to play. You can play in those tournaments that you might look at who's already entered and say, okay, we have a good chance of winning this. And that's going to stroke your ego, and maybe you learn a few things. You have an opportunity to try out a comp that you maybe wouldn't try out in a tournament where you want to really push yourselves. But that's not going to push yourselves as much. So you look for a tournament like GSM Grand Prix to say, okay, we have a lot of top level teams. Let's see how much we can push ourselves, what we can learn from this experience. So, lots of different places for you to improve. I think Speed Ladder is a fantastic one. We're going to talk about it in a second, but what you've done with this, Hitzel, and what your team has done to make this a tournament that lots of people want to play in. And I know you had a couple of issues this weekend with the Smash GG formatting, but that's not on what you guys have done. You've taken a lot of the feedback that you get and you've really alter it into ways that everybody seems to be having a good time.
Yeah. I do want to respond a little bit to what was said earlier with like the join like the big GSM tournament, as opposed to like trying to find like some like little weekly where like you have a better chance of succeeding. Like, it's not a bad thing to join the smaller weekly where you have a better chance of succeeding. Oh, kind of broke up for me. Did he break up for you guys?
Yeah,
Sorry,
a little bit.
I wasn't saying it was a bad thing.
Roboting.
Am I still breaking up?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
What dude said?
I
Yeah.
should move dude so we see.
All right, I wasn't saying that it was a bad thing. I was saying that it's more of like avoiding it.
Mm-hmm. Well,
That's more
I
of what I was
guess
saying.
I guess that we're kind of agreeing, because what I was gonna say is that like, it's not a bad thing to join the small weekly where you have a better chance of succeeding, but if you're avoiding the bigger, harder tournament and only going for the small one, like if you're joining the bigger, harder tournament with the more competition all the time, every single tournament doesn't have to be over your head. Like it's okay to sometimes play something that's more of your skill level, because that also gives you a better measure of improvement. Like if man,
Yeah.
we've been grinding these hard tournaments, let's go back to the weekly that we were always going to, and then all of a sudden you just trash everybody. You're like, whoa, we are improving. Wow, this is awesome. But if all you're doing is the weekly and you're not actually challenging yourself, then that's bad. So yeah, that's my
Yeah.
final thought on the topic.
No, it's good. That being said, let's move on to Speed Ladder. So we had this was Speed Ladder 3, right?
Yeah.
But it was not streamed, whereas your second one was, because I know
Right,
you were
yeah.
making a couple of format changes.
Mhm.
So before we get into those, we had 89 teams that signed up and 73 that played. I think this is one of the largest online tournaments ever.
It's definitely the biggest one since the Inkling, the Open, the Ink TV Open. Gosh, yeah. As far as like community run tournaments, it's the biggest one since the Open, which I think was like that was in like the winter at some point. So it's the biggest tournament that we had in a few months.
Couple months, yeah.
Yeah, and part of the original goal was definitely to make something that would attract teams that don't normally play competitive or play in tournaments. Like I'm thinking, lower division Ludi teams that they flock to Ludi in like the hundreds, but then when it comes to any other event, they're like nowhere to be seen. Or like lots of like friend groups that they all play the game together. They're like basically a team. But they don't really like touch competitive anyway. Like he wanted to provide something to kind of reach out and expand and start pulling in those players. And then once they're here, once they get kind of a taste of competitive, maybe then we'll start to have some of that leak over into like more of like the core of the community's events and tournaments, like like your GSMs and your weeklies and all that kind of stuff. So I think we've done a pretty good job at that. And I think like the numbers of the amount of teams that showed up kind of prove that it's the biggest tournament that we've had in a while, and a lot of that is lower level teams, because the same kind of high level teams have kind of actually, I think we had a little bit less high level teams than well, I guess it's not true, but there were some high level teams that were missing, but still we had these huge numbers. So clearly the advertising is working, I guess.
Yeah, I would say so. And the format is working. I think it's more than just advertising. I think the concept of being able to play a lot of games within a 3-hour period where you're matching up against people that are of your same level. And that, I think that's great. I think, that's really nice. And I know that you had a couple of issues with that in terms of the high level teams, right?
Yeah. So there were two. So basically what happened is over the couple months before the first Speed Ladder, I spent a lot of time talking to the Smash GG staff and kind of communicating with their devs and understanding how the matchmaking ladder works, because so the way that system's supposed to work is like if you're at like a LAN, let's say you're at like a big melee tournament or something like that, you get O2'd and that's it, right? So they have this system in place where when you're not actually playing your normal matches, you can just be on your phone and kind of queue up for this ladder. And then there's like a corner of the room somewhere that has a bunch of melee setups, and you'll just get a notification on your phone. If you accept it, you can go and play a match and you level up and stuff. And a lot of tournaments, you'll give out like prizes and stuff like that. But we wanted to use it differently. So instead of it kind of being like an all weekend thing, we wanted to really compact that into one small period. And to do that, we had to modify how it works and kind of change the rules and change the goal from being like an always on all weekend kind of thing to like a really small, basically like a league rotation, right? And we had given them, we were giving them settings and they were implementing it, and that's happened the first two ladders. And this one there was a mistake and they only put some of our settings in and others not. And because for technical reasons I'm not going to get into, it basically resulted in the higher parts of the ladder having much longer wait times than normal. Like I think there was like a team that waited like 15 minutes at one point, which is like unacceptable. And then at the lower level, you couldn't rank down very far. So there were teams that should be ranked down far and matching other teams similar to them, but instead they were kind of matching teams that were doing decent. So some high level teams didn't really have the best experience because of the long wait times, and some low level teams didn't have a good experience because they were kind of getting outclassed, which bothers me more actually, because again, the whole point of this is to attract more people to our scene so that they can join us. And a lot of these teams, this is their first experience with competitive, and they weren't
Mm-hmm.
getting the best matches, and that really upset me. I didn't like that like at all. But I'm gonna do as much as I can to just make sure that like in the future, I'm gonna like sit down and just make sure that the settings are implemented. I'm gonna give it to them like even further ahead of time and just make sure it works out well. So hopefully like for like the high level teams and the low level teams that didn't get like the best experience. Like I know that the majority of the feedback I've gotten was people saying like, "Oh my god, this is the best thing ever," and blah blah. But we also know that there's other people that didn't have fun, and just because a lot of people or some people are telling us good feedback doesn't mean that we're going to ignore the bad that happened. And I don't want to go on. I don't want to talk about it too much, but I just
Yeah.
if you did have that problem with the speed ladder, I am aware of it, and I'm not happy with it, and I'm going to do my best to make sure that it doesn't happen.
Yeah, it seems like, you guys are doing a lot to make sure that everybody's having a gratifying experience and that they're
Mhm.
really enjoying it and learning from it as well.
Mhm.
So dude, playing in the tournament, what is your take on it? Because we've heard from kind of Hitzel's perspective of it, but as a player, how do you feel about it?
Playing in Speedland is really fun. Like, I just like being able to play a bunch of teams just in a small time period. It's just loads of teams. It's just quick. Like, I love it. It's just and then like I guess as you're continuing on, you play against a harder team and a harder team, and then just continues on, and it's just such a good tournament, I think, and like I really do like that it's getting a lot more attention, and a lot more teams are starting to like get to grips with it, because like what it is just it's like how do I say it? It's like being able to scrim against a bunch of teams just all quickly, and then you have a certain map that might come up certain amount of times, and then you just you know play a bunch of games. I don't know. I as a competitive player, I just find it really fun just being able to like get a lot of practice in, and like it's like a tournament but also practice, but it's a
Mm-hmm.
tournament in the end of the day, so it's really good in that sense.
So, coming from like my point of view, do you feel like it's a little less pressure because there's no top cut that you can just play as many games?
Somewhat, yeah. I mean, I feel like there's, I feel like there is somewhat less pressure, because I feel like you're going into it the same way every single time, where it's just like you go ahead and find the match yourself. You don't know who you're going to play, but you just find your team. You go in, you play best of three, however it goes. If you win, you win. If sick, if you lose, then well, just play another one.
Mm-hmm.
Until time runs out. So I guess it's like a lot more chill in that aspect too, because it's not a thing like it's not like an anxious wait. It's just you find it yourself.
Yeah.
So
And that's what I really like about it. I think that everything you're doing, Hitzel, to make sure that it's something lots of new people can come into the scene is wonderful. And we all know that I really, really appreciate the casual community a lot. And I think this is the best entryway because there's nobody being knocked out either. You
Yeah.
can continue to play until the time runs out or you feel like you're done playing and nobody has to feel like, oh, I've lost. I'm a loser because I got knocked out of this round or that round. So
Yeah,
that's something I appreciate.
we didn't actually see much of that. There was an average of about 32 simultaneous matches happening at all times.
Wow.
Yeah, and towards the
Wow.
end, it dropped to like 28.
Okay.
So there, so basically that's 60 teams active at all times. So it dropped a little bit. So there were some people that stopped playing, but compared to that, it wasn't enough to really affect the numbers that much. And the only time that we really saw a drop was like towards the end when I turned the matchmaking queue off and like the matches had to finish. Then that's when you kind of saw a drop. But yeah, there was about 60 teams playing at any given time throughout the 3 hours. So even though people could stop playing, they didn't. So that's
Mm-hmm.
good.
Yeah, that's great. So it seems like it's really fun. And we have our kind of top four, so to speak. We're a pickup team called Insert a Team Name. and that was Kiver Gray, Zero, and Fake JP. Team Olive with. Did you guys sub anyone out? Did you play your full 5, or who did you guys play as?
It was Sand O'Brien as a Siren. I didn't play.
Because you were doing Summer Breeze, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's going to be our next topic. Yeah, I can't wait to talk about that. I'm so excited. And then we had Squidding Good with Porky, Shad, Orochi, Geku, Fury, and Nox. I'm not sure. What are your sub rules? Before we get to our fourth.
You have a roster of up to 8 people. If you're
Wow.
switching mid-set, you have a minute, so hurry it up, and you can't have a person on more than one team. So we wanted to be really lax with that kind of stuff. Like, we know, especially with Smash GG, it can be hard to like sign up and stuff. So it's just like, hey, we're not gonna make it difficult for you guys to play. We just want you to play. So yeah, you can sub, you can use whoever, as long as someone's not playing for more than one team, it's fine.
Cool. And rounding out that top 4 was Deep Blues with Dr. Prodigy, Power, Taylor, Astral, and Keen. So it seemed like it was a lot of fun. I can't wait to kind of have an opportunity in August to revisit casting it with you, because that was awesome too. Yeah. It's just a fun tournament to be a part of. So great job, Hitzel, and team and Academy team. So well, we're gonna move on to Summer Splatoon. And since I see Kendall kind of editing this sentence as we go, did you want to talk about this first, Kendall? Do you want to introduce the topic a little?
No, I just wanted to say that Splatoon, like just in general, has had a strong LAN presence for a dead game. It's just absolutely dying. Like this has probably been like one of the craziest weekends, like post worlds and stuff like that. Like for just Splatoon in general, we've had just so many events, and it's kind of crazy for, like a lot of people talking about like people not playing as much anymore, and you just had all these events just like blam, like it's here. So you can keep going with what you can continue, but that's all I wanted to say.
I mean, I completely agree with you. I think everybody constantly brings up this idea of Splatoon 2 being dead and there's no future for the game, and I always kind of shake my head and roll my eyes, because as long as we are continuing to create events and wanting to play, the game's not going to die, no matter whether we have a Splatfest every month or we don't. There's still tournaments that are going to happen, and there's still, everything that's going on. So I'm really excited with it. And looking at the LAN presence, it seems huge. I mean, SNS kicked it all off with 62, 64 teams. My numbers are escaping me, but over 60 teams. Yeah, that's crazy and awesome.
That's an
and
online
amazing.
major.
Yeah, that really is. Yeah. And a huge amount of spectators too. It was a total of like 280 registered for Splatoon. That's crazy and wonderful, and yay. Good job, guys. And then we had Summer Breeze. It was the first UK LAN that was like considered a major, right? Community run. So dude, do you want to talk about that? Because I know you were an integral part of organizing it.
It was so good. It was so good. Like I'm just extremely proud, because being part of this Breeze stuff, we had planned this being a thing. I think we wanted this, like, I think me and Baggage had like a small talk, like, what if it was a thing where we had created a LAN within the UK and like started our own thing and all that. And this was around the UK champs back in March, and it was just like, we just need to get a bunch of people together that want to make this a thing. Made a Discord, started like planning beforehand. I made the name Breeze. What's it called? But the event itself, just talking about it, it was just, I'm just so proud, because it was like our first time. Everything, I mean, despite us being like maybe 15 minutes late, we got through the tournament. Like, we like powered through like the schedule. We had like so much time like, I think we had a lot of time to spare.
Just 15 minutes late?
Yeah, we started 15 minutes late.
That's amazing for a LAN. Are you kidding?
Yeah, first LAN, you need to pat yourself on the back.
The first LAN that's not NA, just
pat yourself on the back. Seriously.
I mean, we worked really well as a team. I think I'm so proud of us. I'm so proud of our team because we had all jobs. We just did it. We just got on with it. Even though it was if there was a technical problem, worked through it extremely fast. I know there was I feel like the main problems were maybe due to the stream, because I mean I don't think it's so important too much, but we'll work on it. But it was such a well run LAN. I just gotta say though, shout outs to the UK community because I'm just saying because I've been to a lot of Splatoon LANs and second time I guess for a really big UK Splatoon event. The UK turn up hard. They turn up hard when it comes to the Splatoon because since I've commentated the majority of the grand finals, when it comes to the grand finals, everyone is just fixed to the screen. It's just it's amazing. It's such an incredible experience. Compared to how many people were actually there, it really is an amazing experience of just how hyped everybody really is. It's just how do I explain it? It's I mean I don't know if you guys have seen a British football stadium. It's literally the same atmosphere, except
soccer?
Yeah.
I was waiting for that.
Same thing, same energy. But it honestly, it gives me that kind of feeling because it's just that's just a bunch of Brits just having a good time, and it's that I feel like we're definitely gonna have to do another one for sure. It might be a thing that we will do a 2-day event. Being 1-day event, I mean, it was just a fast thing for us just to try it, to see how we did, and we did extremely well. We did better than expected. So definitely gonna do another one. We're gonna try and put it in a time period because I know a couple of people even from America said that they might want to jump aboard and come down too. So work around the time so flights are a lot cheaper for you guys. I know for sure a lot of Europeans too really enjoyed it too and interested in it. So we kind of want to make it a thing where we got a load of people coming in. So
well, it sounds like everybody's gonna come back at the very least.
Oh yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's only gonna grow if you had Future put it in, but if you guys had you finish your cap in how many months before?
We finished a month and a half.
Yeah,
a month and a half before.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
you push that to a two-day event easily. You'll have basically as many European players coming through, and you might as you said, you'll get American players that just want to go to England for the first time.
Mhm.
They'll definitely want to go to something like that. So you won't have a problem with doing a 2-day event.
It's gonna be sick. I
Check
can't
out
wait
the
for it.
Brits in their natural environment,
It's an experience. It's definitely an experience.
Well, awesome. Congratulations, guys. That is fantastic. And it's a huge deal. And you guys should really pat yourselves on the back because nothing but great things came out of it. So,
Although I just want to say actually one thing, when you were saying about how baggage and you were talking about just growing a land scene, and I wish that more people would just hone in about that because there's so many more places just even here in North America that a lot more people could do more if they just sat down with the people in their states over here and just were yo, we have this venue here, we know we all come together, we can all come together and just try to make more events happen because it's very possible. It's not just obviously our event was just a New York place, being in New York, and a whole bunch of us were here and we were just yo, let's start something up. But I really hope that more people look into that and just be yo, it's not impossible just to start a LAN event. It doesn't take
yeah.
a huge push to get this done. You just need people that are dedicated and want to see Splatoon grow. So that's just one of the things I thought was cool. So
Yeah.
I just
For sure.
retweeted that and followed the Breezeland account.
Same.
By the way,
Same.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And you guys had such cool medals for the winning team too.
That's so
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
It's super,
You gotta
super
thank
nice.
Kitsune
I
for
was
that.
having a conversation with my friend about how giving out having prizes that are meaningful to people has such much more of an impact on the people than you'd think. Like it's worth so much more than it costs to hand out those prizes. And I
Stop
saw the pictures and I was like,
spoiling the surprises.
oh, I was
Okay.
That's why I like making those like fight cards and like making sure that like the first tournament that I won, there was like this big like poster and stuff that was given out, and that's why like I've been championing for them for a long time. But I don't know. I saw the medals and I was like, oh, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
awesome stuff all around.
It's going to be so good. So I am like so proud of you guys for this. I can't wait for the next one. I'm definitely on that list of like moment attendees open up. Like I want in. I got to get my passport in line. So figure that out first. But
figure that out first.
Yeah. So also what happened this weekend is Smashadelphia, which I had the
So upset I
honor
couldn't go.
of going.
So upset.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
I
a
got to
lot
meet
of
your
fun.
mom.
Yeah, my mom came.
Your mom's cool. She had no idea what was going on, but she was cool.
No,
Yeah.
so it was really nice. She's still here. She's hanging out in my apartment. She's taking me to the airport bright and early tomorrow morning. So, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. We had about 12 teams sign up. One ended up not showing, and PK Sparks did a really fantastic job pulling everything together. He works with Screen Wave Media, and they were a huge sponsor of the Too Many Games event. So PK was head TO for the entire Smashadelphia and was so kind to bring a bunch of us out to cast as well. So I had the pleasure of doing it. Milana and I got to do grand finals together, which was great. And Barry had just been kind of hanging out along for the ride, and Stu the announcer got sick. So I casted one of my sets with Barry, and I believe Hangman was the fourth Splatoon caster that we had. So
it was fun to make funny faces at Barry and see him try to not laugh on stream. That was my that was like my favorite part of Barry.
I was proud of him. He did a really good job for that. So, and it was a great event. It was a lot of fun. The space was beautiful.
I
It
saw.
was huge. Like that convention center was popping.
Yeah. Which made me just feel like, why, like, how do we do this at more conventions? You know, there are tons of gaming conventions that happen all across the country. And, you know, Kendall, you're talking about how easy it is to sometimes get a local going. This could be a great spot if somebody knows that you're going to a convention. It seems intimidating to reach out to somebody, but if you just send an email to whoever you see on that Twitter, send a Twitter DM, whoever's promoting that convention, and say, hey, I would love to like bring a Splatoon event together to do at your space. Is there somewhere we could do this? A lot of people would be excited to do it.
Hey, we have this budding community that when you actually stream the event, that you won't be stuck at 5 viewers. Like it will be at like over 100. So maybe you should think about putting us on. Wink, wink. Like, I don't know, man.
And at this point, I feel like everywhere across the world has good casters within their regions who would be willing to travel 1 to 2 hours to do something like this. You know, we all love the game so much. We're ready to support it. So if you hear of a convention that's happening within your area, and even if you're having a little trouble like reaching out to somebody, I know any of us sitting here would be happy to give you advice on how do you reach out to someone. So it's the best way to get those things happening. And Hitzel, you played, I didn't play. So what was your take in terms of format, playing, etc.?
Well, it was the format was like double elimination. So I mean, a little bit different than most lands. So, you know, usually we try to have like some kind of like round robin or a Swiss or something going on. But I don't really think that had that much of a negative effect. I mean, we didn't have so many teams to the point where like some teams were getting significantly more games in than others or anything like that. So I think the format was fine. No, I think that like my general take of coming away from there was that like this is just such a sign that like we're like adding more to like East Coast's like repertoire as far as like Splatoon tournaments go, right? Because PK Sparks was, you could tell he was like really passionate about like making this happen, and kind of showing like, oh, like the Philly scene can support Splatoon as well, like we can do this. And I mean, if this continues to go in the direction that it looks like it's going to go in, you know, like East Coast, like we have New York, and now we have Philly. And if we can get like twice as many events happening and having like some people, you know,
It's huge.
kind
Yeah.
of kind of going to both, it's like it's just such a good look for the LAN scene on the East Coast of America. It's like, you know, it's just, if we get like double LANs, it's awesome. West
Yeah.
Coast, step it up, basically.
Basically, no, because it's not just New York and Philly. It's also New York, Philly, Maryland, and Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, Gatorland, yeah.
Yeah. And you know, one of the things to be said also, PK Sparks was excited, but our stream tech on Masterhand Gaming, I think was the channel, at twitch.tv, Chris was his name. He was so excited to stream Splatoon. And I went to talk to him before, like make sure he had everything figured out, and he's like, I've never done this for Splatoon before. And I said, well, do you have a script to do colors? He's like, no, we're gonna be stuck. And I'm like, that's okay. And he goes, and I don't know how to get game sound in. And I'm like, and he was so anxious about all of it, but he really did a fantastic job. He made sure we felt really good on camera in terms of casters, that we knew what was coming up. He, you know, checked in with us throughout the event, make sure everything looked good. And there were a couple issues, sure, but anytime that you do something for the first time, unless you're dude and friends in terms of Summer Breeze, you're gonna have some issues. So I think it went pretty smoothly, and it was a lot of fun.
I had a pretty adorable moment with him when I walked
Toronto,
in the
yes, I
back,
forgot
and I
about
was
that.
like, hey, just so you know, like when a match starts, just hit X.
Because
on the
I
control-
messaged you.
yeah. I was like, yeah, just hit X on the controller, and it'll bring up everybody's gear so the commentators can talk about it. And then, you know, leave that up for like 5-10 seconds and then shut it down. And like he was like, oh, whoa, that's the smartest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, because that's something I was telling people at SNS too when I was casting and like that wouldn't come up. I was writing quick notes on any scrap paper. I like threw one at Evie, I think, at some point, or I threw one at Eric. Eric was sitting on the floor and I like balled it up and threw it. And he's like, looks at me like, what are you throwing? And I was like, and he reads it and he goes, so, you know, that's something that when you're running, even if auto cam is fine, and they did auto cam the entire time, I think it worked okay. Just like hit that X button for the first 10 seconds or so, and it just makes such a difference for us as casters to be able to see the loadout.
So we get to make fun of my builds and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, we did, right? I don't even think we talked about your builds as much as
the
we
triple
were.
ninja squid.
Yeah, the triple ninja squid. We were like, I think Barry was like, they're not even gonna be able to see him. Like, so you know,
because you know that's the way that you counterpick a vanilla Swiffer is to just like, point sensors, huh? I gotta go run triple ninja squid. That'll work out well. He didn't run it, so
yeah. But
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun. Great job, PK, if you're watching this, and thank you for
dude.
supporting the community as much as you do, because it was awesome.
It makes the future seem real bright.
Yeah.
The same thing with like Breezeland. It's just, I don't know. I guess it's just like the theme this weekend or like this week or whatever. It's just like
It was
just
so
many, yeah,
so good.
So many good signs for the future, like tournament Splatoon. So
yeah, and I think also we didn't really touch on this in terms of Summer Breeze, but you know, supporting the community with content creators. Obviously, dude, you have so much of a fan base out there, and your pull is huge. But to come behind an event like this, it really does help bring the community together. And we had at Smashadelphia the Failing Four, which was made up of Failboat, Jmoji, Fyrus, and Gigi Gap, and they're all Splat-tubers, they call themselves. So having them to come together too and help support the scene, I think that helps a lot, because you have people who watch you, dude, and they think I can do that too, right? Like why can't I do that also? And you know, it never hurts to just support your local community if you are a content creator and go to some of these events. So great job for you guys too.
Thank you. Yeah, it's like a thing where if you are a content creator or anything like that, it's like because they watch you, they watch it, and then they think, oh, maybe I should go ahead and come to the next one. And, you know, just because of that, you know, maybe my favorite content creator will be there as well. I get to meet them and, you know, also meet other people. And then it's like a thing where, because they're now getting more with it in the community, they start thinking, maybe I should, get a team, or maybe I should run an event like this, or maybe I should do a little more of doing something else as well, because I want to, I want to help with the community too. And it's like I don't know how to describe it. It's like a bunny that jumps from one thing to another thing to another thing that's kind of related to the same thing. I don't know if this is making sense, but
I could get it. I think you can use, if you want to go with an animal analogy, I think you can kind of use this idea of an ocean bird and how it
Yeah.
kind of picks up some fish eggs, stops in a pond, drops a little, goes to the next pond, drops a little, and so on. And now you have fish in ponds. Which
Then it
how's
steals
that
your
works?
French fries because
Okay. But maybe you made a
Yeah.
friend when you stole that French fry. So I think it's still a good analogy. But
someone else gave you their French fries. It's like, oh man, that seagull took your French fry. Here, take
Yeah.
mine. It's like, oh, who had?
maybe
then
they
we were
shared
best
it with
friends
their
ever since.
family. Maybe that seagull shared it with all their family and friends, and So Super Florio with gold. It was able to take Smash Delphia. I'm sorry, Hitzel. I know they
Okay.
beat your team. Bracket reset and
They played
all.
really good. Yeah.
Yeah, they did a great job. That was Bitmap's team, and he is constantly a huge presence at LANs, making sure he's always supporting everyone he can, and I think that is a really big deal for the scene. So great job, guys. It was wonderful, and it was great to watch Gold play. I was
Mhm.
like, in terms of caster, I'm like, wow, it was wonderful.
Yeah, he was ripping faces off. Like
Yeah.
a bunch of people at Blam were like, "Oh, like you guys are gonna win and stuff." I'm like, I'm not. Like these guys are good. Like I don't know if you realize what the other like good team is that's coming here, but this is not an easy thing
You
at
said
all. Yeah.
at dinner you were like, the team I'm worried about is Bitmap's team.
Yeah. Like I mean, just because I guess like we're like more familiar faces, but like I mean, like dude was saying, like there are teams that have been putting in the work and they're up on the rise and stuff like that. I guess like maybe I
Mhm.
kind of know this a little bit more because I'm more like involved with like you know like the NA like higher level scene and stuff like that. But I knew like that was going to be a really tough team to beat. So I didn't for a second think that was just going to be like a free win or anything like that. Like and they played really well, and we didn't play that well, so they won because they're good enough to do that. So
Yeah. So it was awesome. Our next upcoming summer event is, of course, major, is Summer Splat, and that will be August 2nd through 4th. We'll get to those links in the chat a little later on, but that's going to kind of close it out for the summer, and that'll be our GSM's event. And I want to go like around the room because everyone here is going to Summer Splat, right?
yeah.
Yep.
Don't shake your head, Kendall. What's one reason to go to Summer Splat? I'll start. One reason to go to Summer Splat? S'mores. Who's next?
See, I want to not say something simple like bananas, but bananas.
One reason to go. I mean, my reason, I get to go to America again. That's basically it.
Hang out with all your friends, right?
Yeah, basically. Like I like being able to travel to, hang out with my Americano friends and all that. So I think that's all fun.
Kendall?
I mean, this is the easiest reason. It's in New York. All right. If you haven't understood in the first place that you're going to possibly, I don't live there anymore, sadly, but it's one of the best places to go, especially for summertime. Summertime, New York, it's not a game. If you want your bagels,
That's why
your
I was
pizza,
waiting for you to say bagels.
all right. We're just not even going to sit here and have these arguments about like if anybody in the chat is giving up blasphemous reasons, it's just because your city is trash. You don't want to hear it. All right. So, but on a serious note, like every single time, I feel like a Summer Splat and Beacon, like they're two different things, two different experiences. Obviously, it's in the same venue, but you'll see different faces from like what you'll see from all the other lands that you go to. You get to see like the New York crowd on top of that, and then on top of it, you get to have the experience of a barbecue on top of it.
Mhm.
So I mean, I don't know, maybe get some fried up squid. So I don't know if you
Ooh.
want to eat that, but yeah. So
Yeah, but
those are my reasons.
we have some fun things planned, and it's gonna be an awesome time. See all your friends. That's my like serious reason. See all your friends. Everybody's excited to hang out with each other.
Yeah.
So, all right. What does this mean for the Splatoon scene with more events popping up in different areas? We touched on this a little bit, talking about kind of the huge East Coast presence and West Coast step up your game, mid country step up your game. But what do you guys think? Like, do you feel like we're making this huge shift from online events to LAN events, and this will keep the game alive, so to speak?
Yeah.
Actual question, not
Who
a.
wants to start?
You could start, Kendall, because
So you
you
gotta
wrote
pick
these
somebody.
questions.
All right.
I'm sorry. I thought we
Yeah,
were having a discussion. I didn't want to like call
you
on
tell
someone.
us what to do.
Oh.
There you go. No, I got you. In all honesty, I mean, I feel like with more of these events popping up, it shows people that like there are other people that still are continually playing the game. Like obviously, you can see that with like playing rank and stuff like that. But I feel like it's more appealing to people when they can go outside and find people that play the same thing as they do. Like it just means more to them. Like it means that like, hey, I can meet more people to league with. Because if you're part of this community, you think that people like have people to league with. Some people really don't have anybody to league with. So sometimes when going to these events, it equals meeting more friends and meeting other people just to like just chill with, just to talk to about the game. So I do think that with more of these things popping up, even if it's just a social event, and I would really hope that people would just do more social events. It could be like a salmon run event, if that's what you like. And if it's 20 people, that will get more people out that will be like, hey, now I have more people to play salmon run with on the weekends. And that's all it really is. For a lot of people, it's just showing and seeing the faces and knowing who they are and just meeting different people. Because obviously you have a common interest with somebody. So with that, now when it comes to say your SNS, instead of 60 teams, it's now 100 teams. Pipe dreams. I'm not saying that like that's exactly what's going to happen, but or if you have an event in your area and now more people are like, wow, I want to go to this event because such and such is going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So it just equals more, in my opinion.
All right, Hitzel?
I don't think that LANs can replace online stuff. It's partially because of like the size of the Splatoon community, but it's also because like we're not like a fighting game where like we really can't play the game online that much and we have to show up in person, and that's kind of like how it is.
Mhm.
I think that online play is always going to be like kind of like the heart of what playing Splatoon is. Like for better or for worse. It's like LANs are really meaningful because all of that time we've been spending together online, like kind of we all get to come together and have like that tournament in person and have like those moments together and stuff. But it's like if all you do is this is a bad analogy, whatever. But it's like, like if you stop drinking water and you just eat the food that tastes really good, you gotta like die or something because you're not drinking water. Like you need the drink. You need like it's like that hierarchy of needs chart where you can't have the thing at the top unless you're fulfilling the things at the bottom. So I don't like if we can't stop having online and then go straight to LANs and stuff like that won't work. But I think that one of the reasons that maybe we're having more successful LANs now is because now that Splatoon 2 is like becoming like a more mature game, right? Like it's an older game. We're not Splatoon as an entity isn't drawing in people who don't play Splatoon. But the competitive community has a huge player base of people that really love Splatoon to pull in. So just because the game is older and it isn't flying off the shelves anymore doesn't mean that like we as a community don't have an audience to attract, because basically we have whatever million people bought Splatoon or whatever it was, like we have all those people to reach out to, and they all love Splatoon and they play it all the time, and it's like the game that they play. So kind of like what Kendall was getting at, it's like these people do have like a common interest, right? So it's like I guess this is more talking about like hashtag dead game, but we basically have an unlimited resource of Splatoon players out there who love Splatoon to pull them in, and the fact that like LANs are happening more, even though the game is older, is kind of a side effect of that like we have really passionate people to pull into the scene. And a lot of that does start with the online stuff. So you really can't skip over that. You can't jump over that. You kind of need to like eat your vegetables too, I guess. It's a better analogy than the old one.
Better than stealing French fries, sure. And what do you think, dude? How do you feel about it?
I think it's how do I talk about it? I think since there is more popping up as of recently, sorry, I need to. Could you reiterate the question one more time?
That's okay. Just like, what does it mean for the Splatoon 2 scene that there are more LAN events popping up? Do you feel like there's a huge switch going to keep the game alive, that the idea is to go to a LAN instead of more online tournaments? Or like, are we kind of going to this idea of do more in-person things to keep it alive?
I think it's what it means for the Splatoon community for that is that since if there's more to happen, it should eventually just become a thing where it's just the norm. Like, of course, that we're always going to have like a bunch of online events, and there should always be more online events compared to in-person event. But eventually, I feel as we progress, it'll just become a thing where there's a LAN event here. It's going to be obviously a great experience all the time because getting to play with your people that you always talk to online and all that, and playing in a tournament and the different atmospheres and all that. It'll just eventually be a thing where there's a LAN event here. A lot more people will just know about it. A lot of people will just go, and it'll just be a good time and all that.
Remember back in the day we didn't go to LANs all the time?
Yeah, that's what I feel like. Even like that, like I feel like maybe a couple people now in this day it would just be like, I want to go to a LAN event, or maybe I won't. I don't know, but eventually it'll just be a thing where okay, another LAN event. Let's go.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, with me, that's how it is like right now. So.
Me too. I feel your pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
I think that part of that is also, it's a great way to get involved very quickly because my first LAN was December of 2017, right? We're in 2019 now. Yeah. And a year later, I was already helping prep for the first beacon. Or for the second beacon. So I'm saying like, very, very fast, you can just get involved within the community when you can message someone online, sure, but sometimes they don't think about it because your message gets buried under 50 other DMs that they get within that time frame. But if you go and you're there and your face is there and someone sees you and they need somebody to just like watch a table while they run to the bathroom or, whatever, that is going to create an impression of, hey, so-and-so helped out last time. Maybe they're interested in getting involved again. So I think that's like another reason to go to these LANs. I think also I had an odd, interesting encounter. One of my closest friends here in New York, her and I went to graduate school together. And I remember going to the Nintendo store one day after class and we saw Splatoon 2 amiibos, or Splatoon amiibos. This was before Splatoon 2 was announced. And she was like, my boyfriend loves this game and I don't get it. And I was like, I've never even heard of this game. It looks so cute. Oh my gosh. And, I had a Wii U, but I wasn't within Splatoon at that point. And she turns around and she's like, you would love this game. And then when I saw her recently and she's like, I can't believe all the things you're doing within Splatoon now. From, that she was my like entry point to the, hey, look at this.
Everything.
Yeah, she was like, we can't believe you're doing this stuff. So it was pretty awesome that that was like the catalyst, I guess, for me to be like, hey, pay attention to this game. So, a little like real life people's story. All right. So let's go to kind of this main topic. We've talked about tournaments. We've talked about summer things. I'm a little anxious about this one. Let's talk about the mid-level struggle / hell, as Kendall calls it, baby rage. So
All right, let's look at Twitch chat now. Someone said baby rage.
no one said baby rage yet.
It was in my yeah.
Yeah. There we go. There we go.
Now it starts.
Okay. So this all kind of kicked off. I was at Smashadelphia, so I had caught up a bit and I lost a few things here. And I know, dude, you were at Summer Breeze, but Hitzel, you had made a video about this, so we're gonna
content.
Yeah. Let's it kind of kicked off with Muty talking about trying to explain what more mid-level players can do to set themselves apart. And that's a little bit of a lengthy tweet, but
It's
kind
not the
of
original tweet.
Her original tweet
Yeah.
wasn't that lengthy.
It was an
Okay.
original tweet.
okay.
Yeah, the original tweet got deleted.
Yeah.
Got it.
Because some people advised her that she was kind of pushing too many buttons. But
Yeah.
I mean, I thought
Okay.
the original tweet was fine, to be honest. It was
Same,
poorly
actually.
timed.
I thought so also.
It was poorly timed because of reasons kind of outside of the topic, but it was correct. I don't know, but I don't know, Brian wants me to give like a 101 of my video, which I think I can do pretty easily, which was so basically the original tweet was kind of answering like the general public buzz that, and this conversation comes up from time to time, that you know, like things like +1 and private scrim servers and things like Calo, and you know, there's a bunch of them that they're kind of like doing a disservice to mid-level teams, and like they should be doing something like to help mid-level players get to that point, or like to, you know, provide them with a similar resource, and blah blah this, blah blah that, and basically saying it's like, well, there are these resources for players of like those levels, and that people should be taking more advantage of them and using them to improve more so that they can rise up to like that higher level. And her tweet, you kind of went over that topic, and I my video basically responded to that, not really with my opinion, but with my advice, which is how to kind of like network yourself as a competitive player, how to keep track of the people that you scrimmed or played against in tournament that you felt were within your league, that or you think are like cool people, or you just like playing with them, how to keep in contact with them. And that kind of ranges to what I've done in the past, like what Clockwork did, where I made just a Discord. I just called it Scrim Group, and every time we scrimmed a team or fought a team in tournament that we liked, or just saw some people that we wanted to play with more, we just invited them to the server and kind of managed it and treated it professionally. And it kind of grew into like a bigger thing. It's still active because the teams that we invited there used it, so I just kind of like maintain it, and whenever I see activity drop, I invite more people. But you don't even have to go to that extreme. Like, just keep like a notepad or a Google Doc, and just like keep track of like players, and like whenever your team wants to scrim, instead of, you know, just asking in like the public chats or whatever, DM that guy. It's like, yo, can you guys scrim? Or like, hey, we need a sub, do you want to play with us? And you know, sometimes people won't say yes, or they won't respond, you know, like I get, you know, that can be awkward, but you know, if you do it enough, eventually, kind of harken back to what we said earlier, if you do these things enough, the opportunities will come. You know, you can't, you're not going to be able to do it if you don't try. And yeah, but basically the TLDR was like, you know, you can do the same thing that like the +1 groups and all that kind of stuff are doing, which is networking. And you shouldn't really expect to be part of the upper echelon of that network if you haven't been networking yourself and boosting yourself up as a player as yourself, and finding that practice, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
What
That's basically how +1 started. It was like, it started with really, I think it started with just Olive and Deadbeat at the time. It was just us two, and then like we kind of invited like a couple players on, and then it started like growing into something bigger. Like now we have like around 50 people. I mean, I don't really keep count, Sendo that does, but that's
his
really,
job.
yeah. Yeah. It's just like, just become, I guess, a massive scrim group basically. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's also this like I see people kind of talk about it a lot where it's like, oh, like it's just like this like only the best players, and it's just like, and then the best players are decided by the opinions of the people that are in there. And I think, like, honestly, as being in there, it's not really that. It's literally a +1 server. It's a group of players that happen to be good, that is filled with players that those people would like to respond to the, hey, I need a +1 ping. And like when I've seen Walkie's a mod there, I've seen him say it many times, like, this is not a list of the best players in Splatoon. This is just our, we want to play with more people group. It's just a private group, and like that's all it
that's it.
is. Yeah, it's literally all it is.
Yeah. And I think you're right that anyone can kind of create that kind of environment of just get your friends together of people that you know are constantly looking to play with each other, make a server, and that's all. And it doesn't have to be like, you know, uh, a lot of people think, and when I first started within Splatoon, I was a member of these servers of, hey, I found you were streaming Splatoon and do you want to play with us? And they would invite me to a server, and it's ping at everyone, let's play together. Let's get into private lobbies and play. And a lot of people think, well, that means I need to always be friends with these people. This becomes a friend server. It doesn't. It can just become a server of people you want to play with. It doesn't need to be a home for memes, which a lot of them have those channels, but it can literally just be, I want to play with these people. You don't need to be friends with them. You don't need to talk to them every day. You can just play with them when you want to.
Yeah. And again, like, you don't even need to make a server. If you just keep
Yeah.
track of the people that are good ideas to play with, then just DM them. It's like, it still does the same thing. Networking is networking. It doesn't have to be so formal as to like organize a server. Because if everybody organizes a server, that might be too much. But if you join the ones that are available to you, and you recognize the people that are good for you to associate with, and you kind of like pull them closer to the chest kind of thing,
Yeah.
over time, that it works out.
Yeah, absolutely. So, how do you feel about it, Kendall?
How do I feel about it?
Because we haven't heard from you yet. So,
I mean, the whole thing was I just wanted to know the resources, really. But I mean, for me, it's we've answered this so many times at this point in time, like even before all with us and even Ink TV. But I mean, like personally, it kind of has, I feel like Hitzel, when he was like, I watched his video about like just like how to get together with people to practice. Um, for me, it's as I said, I'm out of it at this point in time. I'm mostly just helping with TOing and really just like LAN events. But um, I feel like the resources are there, and for a lot of people that like, the nicest way to put this is the fact that they're not looking hard enough.
Mhm.
So, say for instance, like you can't really, barring everything, you can't really blame +1. You can't really blame anybody else but yourself for not like unless you're like brand new to the scene. Like I feel like when you say mid level, you're not really brand new to the scene. Like we're not talking about anybody that's like it's their first day in, they have no idea what they're doing for competitive or whatever. But when you're saying that somebody's a mid level team, you've probably been around for a while, and you kind of know like the resources, the places where to look, like the VODs that you can find, the people that you can talk to. I pretty like when I think of a mid-level team, you kind of have your bearings. So I feel like at that point in time, when you say like, oh, I can't find, like what Hizzle was saying with like you can't find the scrims, like you've played against teams in tournaments, and there's a possibility that you can probably like talk to those teams. And as Hizzle was saying, just like building servers. I feel like that's one of the easiest ways of like finding people that are at the same level of you, and trying to find them and interacting with them. And then that may be the best way of pushing yourself forward at that point in time, because you're finding people that are actually at your level, willing to scrim with you all the time, instead of like hoping that like please like senpai, like please come down from your pedestal and like scrim with me today. Like that's not going to happen. So I feel like there are a lot of resources to actually get players to, not saying like everybody can be a top level team, and it may just be like one player that breaks off from the team and goes further on, but um I feel like there's like a lot of resources out there. So even from like VODs, tournaments where like you can take KP's Olive's tournaments and just like break down what they did and like the whole entire thing, like looking at different players and what they're running, what weapons, what comps they're running, learning how to be a better team, and watching, as dude was saying earlier about his VC and how like how they try to like not be tilted, and picking up little things like that, watching Hitzel when he's going over his like scrim VODs, and even with Nine, the graining, I forgot what he
The
graining
grounds, yeah,
Graining
yeah.
graining
Grounds.
grounds. Like there's just so many resources for any player that like, and especially as I said, like I feel like when you're a mid-level player, you know where it is, but you just don't like. I feel like you have a problem with applying them. So I guess it's maybe talking to Hitzel, who will write you out a full on paper on what you need to do, or asking DJ to tell you how bad you are, and there you go. He'll do it for free. I actually genuinely think he likes it.
He does. He does.
So I mean, they're like seriously, like I mean, yeah, you might be afraid to ask like people like obviously like dude, because he has a it's his stream has like over like 200 people in it, and you're just like, yo, like I don't know when to ask this. Like you just recently did like a Q&A about like for like low level players, if I'm correct, right?
Mm-hmm.
About how to like get better. There's so many videos that you can just go back on and look up. So I'll stop talking about that though. So
No, but I think those are all good points. And I can't stress enough the idea of reaching out to people, because everyone in this community is friendly. We all want people to grow and succeed and feel like you are putting your time into something worthwhile. And I think that's the struggle that mid-level and low-level players feel is, why am I bothering if I'm not getting better? And look for resources. If you're having trouble finding them, ask about them. Like Kendall, you
yeah,
mentioned, like Dude's channel is a huge resource. I think
huge.
like a whole university on Splatoon 2 right there.
A whole university.
It
That's a
is.
really good way of
Everything.
putting it. That's interesting.
Yeah, because you can find everything you would possibly want to learn. Except I do think that we should talk.
I mean, he does have a Dr. Dude series, so I mean, that's not wrong.
I'm
So.
just saying we need some commentary, how-to commentary content up there. That's the next step. So, but seriously,
University.
it really is a Dude University. I love it. I think that's a great
should
point.
make a new channel.
It's
I'm gonna call it
Oxford.
But it has to be Dudiversary. I mean, it's awesome, and I think that everyone is willing to help you out. If you go there and you're like, wow, there's so much, I'm overwhelmed, so message someone that you see in Dude's stream one day. Mods are free if you are intimidated to approach Dude, who is so
Yo.
nice.
Lily said it. If you've never asked Hitzel about a gear set, I'm sorry to tell you, you don't understand. If you're one of those people that needs somebody to write out like a literal page, and if you think I'm joking, I can screenshot how many times I've asked Hitzel about one little thing.
Same.
And then it's literally a whole sheet. And I'm like, Hitzel, where do you find the time? But it's stuff that I wanted to know. So
If I get asked something, I'm gonna give the response, and if it's about a weapon that I don't know a lot about, I'm going to have that conversation with someone. I've had like an hour-long conversation with Chip about ink brush. You know how much like patience that takes? So just because someone asked me an ink brush question, I'm like, all right, we're doing it. Like, here we go. That's like
I can't. I mean, Hitzel. So I'm scrolling back a bit because what were we playing in that? Oh, it was when we were in the same lobby for something. I was casting or spectating. Anyway, he DMs me on the 14th of June with a screenshot of whatever my build was that I was playing at that time. And he goes, just explain. And it was like, I was playing custom Splattershot Junior with tinted shades. That was like one special power up with a bunch of special saver. and then the blue sailor shirt, special power up, and then I had a pure of punk whites and special power up, and he's literally like, why? and
It was like,
and I said, what am I explaining? Because I die a lot. I wanted it for the rain because I was playing Turf War, and and we went on for a little bit that day, and then he sent me, a screenshot of what he does for Punk Whites and Drop Roller, and then like I come back and I think I had like 15 or 20 messages like an hour later. I'm just like, I think I literally said this to you, like, I didn't read all of that, but I appreciate it.
So what exactly happened was like we just got done, like I had just got done. I forget what it was the commentary practice, and I was like playing with
Okay, yeah.
FW, and we were fighting Demise or something like that.
Yeah.
And I like afterwards I was like, I'm gonna order some gear. I'm gonna see what they're all wearing. And I just like pulled it up and I like hit A, and it's like custom junior with 4 mains as special power. And I'm like, what the?
Yeah.
I was playing Turf War. I mean, I was leveling some gear, and
Actually, I do have one more last thing, one more last thought, and one of your biggest resources, and you're just like, you're one of those people. Like, obviously, LANs are supposed to be fun. You go to a LAN event for fun, but it is also a competition, and there is also a tournament going on, and there are, who would have thought, a few good players that are there. So if you even if it's not even like, you don't get a chance to go, dude, you'll get a chance to go over to like somebody like Barry. You'll get a chance to go over to somebody like Zero. Trust me, Zero wants to talk to you. Don't think he doesn't. He's another one that just, I love Zero, but he just won't shut up. So sometimes. So if you want to ask him. Like, yo, I want to get good at T-Tech. Nezzy, another person. He will tell you, like, yo, this is the gear you need to use. There are a lot of people like, oh, you want to get good at with the Splatter Shot Junior? Lily's there. She will gladly convert you on why you need to use it. Also, on top of that, if you want to talk about an ungodly mode, she'll also talk to you about Clan Blitz and how you can get better at it. So go to Lance, go to Summer Splat, sign up now, today, please sign up.
Yeah. Do it.
But spoken.
I mean, we have so many people who are just ready to like hang out with everyone, be friends. They want to talk to you. They want to know what you're thinking. And even like even with that whole message, Hitzel didn't criticize me. He wasn't like, "What are you doing?" And every time we've talked about me getting better, he's constantly supportive. And you guys all know that I don't play this game competitively. I enjoy commentary. So for me, I'm like, find people who you feel comfortable talking to. Find people who you don't feel comfortable talking to. Wherever it is, someone will know someone who knows someone that will get you the information that you seek. And people are ready to help you. And they want to. And I think that is bigger. To me, that advice of talking to people, looking for this information, being it DMing Hitzel, watching his mornings, coffee with Hitzel, watching all of Dude's university content, talking to Kendall in his stream, even if he's not playing Splatoon, he's still happy to talk to you about stuff. Or even if you're afraid to talk to all of them, come talk to me. I'm happy to talk to anyone. I'll direct you in the right place because I know hardly anything. But it's still, I think all of this is, in my opinion, a positive spin on this whole drama that came up about mid-level players. Because you're only mid-level because you haven't found the thing that makes it click yet. And that's what someone once told me too. That when you find the thing that it clicks in your brain, everything will feel better about it. So
I think before we move to the next topic, I have 2 things that I want to say on like the high level, mid level kind of like rift, I guess, and I'll be quick. And I think the first is that a lot of people, like from the outside coming in, a lot of people kind of looking at the high level players and like forming opinions, like they kind of forget that like they're people too, and it's like life's not really fair to like high level players either, and like they have to work really hard, and they only have like a limited amount of time to like help other people, and they do their best. And I think that something that gets overlooked is like if you're like a high level player and you're busy all the time and you only have so much time to like try to help the community, are you going to dedicate all your time to like a handful of mid-level players that maybe could help themselves, or are you going to go like wider and help like really low level players and bring people into the scene? Because that's what I see a lot of high level players do when they do invest like their resources into helping the community. They tend to help like the lower level players like get to a point where they're good enough to help themselves, and I think a lot of people overlook that. um and I and also like, for example, with Clockwork, we had tryouts where we had like 70 people sign up, and we turned to this big thing. And part of it was like, look, we're only looking for 2 people and there's 70 of you. So in this tryout process, we're going to like form pickup scrims with you guys, and we're going to like offer like advice and stuff like that. And we want like, because we're not going to pick up that many people, you guys should think about playing with each other, forming teams with each other, because there's 70 people that are all here to join a team. So maybe you should join up with each other. And after the tryouts, none of them form teams with each other. So it's like, am I going to pursue that more, or am I going to pursue helping out a ton of low level players and getting like a huge benefit out of it? You know, so it's like, I guess you got to like see it from our perspective. And then the second, real quick, is that I think that something that's overlooked when high level players talk about this stuff with mid level players is a lot of mid level players are kind of like, they don't have like the social skills to really like go and like talk to a lot of people, and it can be really intimidating to like do like the networking stuff. And I think that you just got to realize that like it's okay if you DM someone and they don't say yes. It's okay if you're in a scrim and you're just getting into whatever scrim you can, and like there's some person in VC who's like tilting really bad and making it like really awkward and stuff like that. Like don't let those bad experiences stop you from trying again. And
Yeah.
I'm talking a lot, and I feel like that's a topic that gets overlooked a lot. But just know that like if you're one of those people that are kind of afraid to like approach people, and this does all seem really intimidating, like it's okay. Like no one's gonna care tomorrow
Also,
that happened.
like
You know?
that being
You're fine.
said, it's like that's a huge life skill too.
Yeah.
And if you can practice this with people that you run into in League, in Ranked, in streams, in Discord, whatever, it's easier for you to be able to do it when you need a job that's going to pay you money in your life. And, you know, people all the time want to help other people, believe it or not. We're not a society, for the most part, of putting others down. So I think there's a lot to be said. I think it's been awesome. Do you guys have any kind of closing thoughts on this? Dude, anything else you want to add here? It's okay if you if you say no. Because I looked like I kind of caught you off guard. You're like, what was the question? Okay. Kendall, closing
I gave
thoughts for
mine
you.
with the land thing, so I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, I
And
kind of gave mine as
Hitzel,
well.
yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So mine are just literally reach out to people if you feel like you're struggling to find a place where you can learn through videos and content that has already been created. If you're struggling to find a space on Twitch where you feel you can ask questions, you know, reach out to people. And that being said, I have extensively studied learning and teaching methodology for learning and teaching. So if you feel you're struggling in a certain way of learning through one way, send me a message. I'm happy to talk to you about another way that we can help get you on a page that you feel good about it. So, yeah. All right.
Good gal, Melissa.
I try. I like people. Okay, so let's talk about some upcoming tournaments, and then we'll get to some viewer questions. So we have upcoming tournaments that we are looking at, right? That's really usually what we do. Yeah, okay. I'm like, do we usually do viewer questions first? Upcoming tournaments. GSM Grand Prix Qualifier 2 is happening this weekend, June 29th. I believe that's at 12 p.m. So go ahead and sign up for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's a great opportunity for you to face top-level teams. It's a great opportunity for you to get qualified for our finals event, which will be casted live from Aeon Gaming. So go sign up for that. Fresh Start Cup number 5, which will kick off SAC Season 1, is going to be July 6th through 7th. This is the perfect opportunity for low and mid-level teams to participate in an event. You know, come check out what the Splatoon Amateur Circuit's all about. Fresh Start Cup is a great way to do it. It's a 2-day event. It's streamed. It has good time frames for both all parts of the globe, because I feel like even one of them is a 7 p.m. on a Friday, which is 7 a.m. on a Sunday. So not so terrible for Australia even. And then of course, what I'm calling the main event is Summer Splat. I'm going to mod spam again. Come to Summer Splat 2019, August 2nd through 4th. Registration is still open. $40 registration ends July 6th when prices go up to $55. So be ready. Our early supporter badges are sold out. But you can still buy a tank top.
One.
Yeah, I mean, you also have a staff badge, so.
Oh yeah. I'm cool.
Yeah. But I think, dude, you got an early supporter, right?
I was just outside it.
Oh, were you? I think you were just.
Unfortunately.
Oh, bummer. So I thought you were
I
just
did it
inside it.
If you had said yes, we all just would have believed you. So.
Well, I feel like you were on my list as like the last one, if I remember correctly. So yeah, I that's why I remembered your name. Either way, it's gonna be awesome. Yeah, he was like number 52. Yeah, which I think we had said we'd extend it to 55. Because we had 5 people after we said that tweet that was like, we only have 2 spaces left or whatever. 5 people signed up within 10 minutes. So we were like, we'll go ahead and do 55. So yeah, get those other badges in. Come register. Join our Friday night event. I promise you it'll be a lot of fun. So yeah, we did, DJ. And that being said, let's take some questions here. So let's start with, I don't know why it organizes it in such a way. Stu, the announcer, said, what food dipping sauce would be the most pleasurable to be dropped into a vat of, dunk tank style? Conversely, which would be the worst? Ranch would be your...
Ranch. Bathe me in ranch. I had ranch on my rice. Ranch. Ranch goes on everything. Ranch.
You are perfect for that Hidden Valley commercial where they just chug the bottles.
Sponsor me. Ranch.
Just an uncomfortable zoom in of his face. Ranch.
And my look of disgust of yuck. Okay.
Ranch, macaroni and cheese, ranch, everything. Put it on a spoon. I'll eat it. All right. Everything.
Okay. And what would be your worst?
You can keep mayo in all honesty.
Okay. Hitzel, favorite, worst?
I mean, I know the worst is anything like ketchup. I hate ketchup. Well, when I was a kid, we used to get in ketchup packet fights in the parking lot at McDonald's, and like you would walk away from it and you'd have like ketchup like on your arm and crap, and it would get all like dried out, and then you would just itch for the rest of the day, and there'd be this like gross ketchup film just reminding you how stupid of a teenager you were for like the next few hours. And I hate it. Like when I have anything with ketchup, I feel it like in my throat, and I'm like, I don't like ketchup, so I don't want to be thrown in a vat of ketchup.
What would you want to be if you had to choose?
I hadn't thought about that part yet.
What do you put on your chicken fingers? Do it that way.
Buffalo sauce, but I feel like that would be
maybe.
Why would you want to go with sriracha?
No, that's the other thing that I put on wings. That's also bad. I like spicy stuff. It's gonna like eat away my pores. I don't know.
Okay. Dude, how about you?
So, worst would be ranch.
Wow. I love it.
Wow, can we kick him off, please? Like, that's
I just remember I had it in a burger, and it just... I don't know if it was actually ranch, because I just remember I had a burger once, and like there was this white sauce in it. It wasn't mayo, and like it tasted like toothpaste. It was just like, what am I eating? Like it was awful. But what's it called?
All right, so
I'll
don't
say
get a burger if I go to England. Got it.
oh my god. But it was awful.
Yeah.
But best would be literally anything spicy, buffalo, sriracha, like just
You used to be in a
if it's-
tank.
Do you get
just-
goggles? Maybe like a nose plug.
Possibly.
no.
That'd be terrible to be
I would
dunked in.
request it if I was
Yeah.
getting dumped in hot sauce, man.
I'm okay with like hot sauce is all good. I'm okay with that.
You just see him like go in, like this is gonna be awesome, and then there's just like bubbles coming out. Like, cream.
All right. I would say my preferred would be honey, like actual honey,
Oh wow, they should have said that.
because I love honey. And my
Would that
least
be
favorite
painful?
honey?
I mean, if you drop from a distance, it's kind of like hitting concrete, but as long as she lowers herself in,
It's like
carefully.
sticky and like. Okay.
I mean, I'd rather that than ranch. Ew.
Is ranch
Um,
not sticky?
Gross.
that amount of ranch.
My like top 3 least favorite would be anything made with Old Bay, because it would actually kill me. Because I'm allergic to cinnamon, and that's there. And then ranch, and the cream of the crop. Don't ever touch me with ketchup, ever, please, God, no.
There we
It's
go.
so overrated.
We're team anti-ketchup.
Hate ketchup.
It's just so overrated.
Okay, so thank you, Stu the announcer. I hope that you catch this clip and it makes you smile. Shenny says, Hitzel, give us your best Batman.
Here we go.
Good.
You have 10 seconds.
Hi guys, I just got off work and my throat kind of hurts.
That video needs to be.
I'm being.
This is such a throwback.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Shenny.
How many views does it have?
We have, wait, what? The
You've never seen the
Wait,
video?
Wait, what? You
What,
can't wait.
Hitzel's
What?
Batman, or wait, the
Ye-
original one?
The original.
Yeah, with the father. That
With
one?
what?
40.
No. Like Hitzel. in the-
44,000 views.
No.
Wait, you don't know what we're talking about.
No.
You don't get the joke?
No.
No,
I
it doesn't.
No.
We have
This
homework
is-
for you.
Yeah, we'll send you. This is like Splatoon history.
I can't go to a land without someone calling me that.
I
Like,
didn't
to this
get.
day.
I didn't get that. Okay.
There it
I
is.
get it.
So after you're done, you need to watch that.
All right. Sounds good. Okay. So we have some serious questions here from Bitmap. Should we focus on making pay-to-play appear in online tournaments, or divert all pay-to-play efforts in creating more lands in local communities where we already have a strong pay-to-play culture? This is a question we continue to bring up over and over again. The idea of pay-to-play in our online tournaments definitely has differing opinions across the board. And I think the question comes up probably every 6 months or so about pay-to-play. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this bitmap, but I think you guys want to run through your thoughts on pay-to-play, etc. On
Pay-to-play is good.
online, yeah.
Like, what's it called? I mean, depending on how much it is, like I'm, it's. I guess it's a thing that's aimed at, I guess, some of the older players. But I mean, there's a lot of older players in the competitive scene. But like, it's not a thing where it like taking like a fortune out of your wallet. It's like the most I've seen is like $5 or $10, sometimes just per team, and it's like, it's just a little bit of money just to, it's like just to help the prize pot, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that if it was a standard like that was brought in a while ago, like say Splatoon 1, I think it would have been something that's more successful. But at this point in time, like unless you can get every, I guess you want to say big org to change their plan to being like, yo, we're staying steadfast. You got to pay to play. I don't think it's ever going to change. And I think it's better off trying to get more LAN events or like social events or whatever that people have to pay for. Because at this point in time, it's kind of proven. I'm not saying that people should stop at all, but it's kind of proven with how many pay to play events we've had where they've been like $5, and that's $5 for the team. And it's seen like such negative kickback, except from like your top players. So, and maybe like one team that's just like, I just want to play. So it kind of, at this point, it's kind of like, is it really worth it? And doesn't seem like a lot of people are interested in it at all. So I feel like it's better off just actually working on your land scenes and stuff like that, where people actually have to pay to go to those. I don't think online will ever get to that point unless somebody has like an amazing idea. But yeah, which sucks for your TOs and stuff like that, and the people that put in a lot of time and your streamers. But like it would equal more for like prize pools, stuff like that. But I don't think a lot of people get it and they don't see the value in it. So yeah.
Everybody's basically spoiled at this point. Like everybody's too used to never having to pay for an online tournament.
Yeah.
So the thought of it is, it doesn't.
And
click
some
with
people
them.
don't realize that it's not sustainable. So yeah.
It would take a major kind of melding of the minds that every organization that runs a tournament would have to choose to go to pay to play for a set amount of time for people to
Or
realize.
there's no other option.
Yeah.
No option. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other thoughts you had on it, Hitzel? I feel like you've talked about it extensively in other formats
yeah,
too.
we've done it. We've talked about it other times. I mean, when it was experimented with, I thought they were awesome. I love it because that's also like when Clockwork was, kind of like up and coming, and then also like other times. But it was just awesome to be able to just play with all those high level teams back to back to back to back to back and get that experience. And you know, not every now you play in tournament now, you don't get to play as many high level teams. So like that's a downer, and that's totally worth like $5-10 for me. But again, everybody's spoiled at this point, so it just kind of can't happen.
It's hard to change a standard.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, all right. Gamer Prior said, if I play Kensa Splattershot, what stages should I not play it on? Like, where do I need to pick up secondaries for? Good question. Kelp Dome. You should just
Albacore.
never play Kelp Dome in general, but yeah, Albacore, Kelp Dome. Where else?
Because you can kind of play it, and you can kind of play it on every map, to be honest.
I mean, you
But,
can play
like-
Vanilla on Moray or something like that. Like, it's
Yeah.
not like you need to not play Kensa on Moray, but Vanilla's good on Moray, I guess.
Yeah, it's just a broad, really, really broad.
I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't know either way.
It's the Kensa 10 attack as opposed to the Vanilla 10 attack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I called it on stream the other day too. I'm like, but it, I think those are maps.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Cola Flame says, what are your thoughts of the current meta? So I think this question can kind of be brought about every single day because the meta is constantly changing. When somebody picks up something that we're like, what? Any crazy things that you think about? I just want to call out what I saw at Smash Delphia with this double charger thing, which was kind of crazy and really
that was
fun.
us getting styled on.
Yeah.
to be honest.
Yeah, and you guys didn't have a response for it. So not meta, but I think pretty fun to watch. But how do you guys feel about the current meta?
Well, I think that Splatoon is in kind of a fun place. Yeah, I did talk about this on stream, and this is actually kind of the conversation that we were having after my please explain your custom junior build thing. That I think that Splatoon 2 is in kind of a cool place right now because the kits that weapons have and just the weapons in general in Splatoon 2 are like problem solving tools. And the meta shifts a lot, and even mid set it's like you can take a lot of the weapons that Splatoon 2 has to solve different problems. And the better teams have a lot of weapons available to them, and they will apply them like when necessary. Like they respond to the situation by offering these weapons that solve these problems. And it happens in Japan even more. And I just think it's cool because unlike like Splat 1, where it was like P-Tech, Zimmy, Cherry, Dynamo, CRB, backline, every once in a while you switch to a slightly different weapon to be slightly better on that map or something like that. In Splatoon 2, it's like entire different team comps get thrown around for different reasons. And I just think it's cool that like weapons get use because they're puzzle pieces that fit together to do stuff. And the meta's been like that for a couple months now, and I think that that's really cool.
What do you think, dude?
What I think about the current meta right now, like, I feel like it's pretty cool that just a larger majority of weapons are being used and a lot of them are being noticed. Like, I don't, like, truthfully, like, I really find it hard to see, like, this is a weapon that just cannot be used on any map in the entire game. Because, like, right now, like, there's, like, you can use things like King Jet, but it's just the way that you have to use it. Like, you can't just go ahead and use it willy-nilly. Like, you always want to be able to confirm that I'm going to kill this guy as soon as I fly up, or I'm going to spook a person and they're not going to expect me. Like, I think people sometimes get the wrong idea of it, that it can't be used, but you know, it can. It's just depending on how you use it. Much like how I guess missiles are, because like I'm kind of confused because like there wasn't really like an amazing buff to missiles that made it.
There
like,
was an amazing
just-
buff to Mini.
Yeah, I guess so. But like, really for missiles, it's just like people kind of recognize how it could be used in a way that it's helpful in a team, and you know that's why we have this thing where there's a bunch of people who just spam missiles all day, and it's not a thing that it's like it's stupidly strong. It's like it can be countered, and just learn how to do it, how to counter it. It's all good. Kind of same with L3. Like I've kind of like the L3 outbreak after Worlds, obviously, like no one expected it, but here we are with like millions of people picking up the L3 now. But even that has its like, it has a lot of counters I don't think a lot of people actually recognize, because like this weapon gets destroyed like by anything that has range, like Splattershot Pro, Sasha Deco, even Sasha Machine. Like I feel like probably next month a bunch of people are just going to switch to Sasha Machine to take on L3s now.
It also tames the baller on top of that, which is like the thing.
Exactly.
It's like, but L3 has baller, and then you just like.
Exactly. Like, there's a lot of things. Like, there's a lot of things in this game that just continue. Like, basically, us have its uses, but can also be countered. So it's like, with any comp you kind of go in, there's never going to be a situation where you're just going to completely counter or have a composition that's uncounterable, So it's always just going to be like that, I guess, which is good. So it just, it promotes players to actually learn how to fight against the counter battle. So.
Yeah.
Sweet. Any thoughts from you on it, Kendall?
Not really, no. Not gonna lie. I think they covered everything.
Kendall's like, I ain't paying attention to that shit.
No, I pay attention. I pay attention to the metas.
Okay.
I pay attention.
So
it's just that. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say meta changes by whatever candy people see other players use. So yeah, that's really it.
Just nerf L3 so I don't have to use the damn thing anymore. L3 is like one of my favorite weapons in Splatoon history, but I hate using it in like serious matches because like L3 is just like death's waiting to happen. Like it's actually really hard to use and unreliable. So nerf it, Nogami.
All right.
So I don't have to use it.
The next question I believe is directed to Dude. Dude, are you any good at tongue twisters? Mooney says,
Good
how much
God.
wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck dude? I don't know if that's a meme question or that's like actually something you talk about on your streams that you like tongue twisters. I don't, that's why I was like, maybe this is something you are aware of. I make it a habit to read every question, so moving on. Team Chaos or Team Order?
Team Arena, so you already know the answer. There you go.
Team Order for you.
We're all gonna have horrible answers to this question, I know.
What do you mean?
Well, my answer is whatever the other three people in voice chat already joined when I get on and say, am I playing Splatfest with you guys?
Okay.
That's my
And
answer for every Splatfest.
dude?
I just pick chaos. No reason, just why not?
I mean, that sounds like
This
a pretty
guy's-
chaotic reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it
Not having a
fits.
reason does have a.
All right. And I am Team Order because I like the colors better.
All right, so we got lawful good and chaotic neutral on out of you two.
Yeah. Yoshi or Yo5 High says top 10 teams in the West. I feel like top 10 is rather a lot when we are already at the 2-hour mark. So do top 3 in the West.
Top 3. FD win. I can't say Olive or I can't say Kraken Paradise because we haven't played for the longest time. So I'm just gonna exclude that. Astral and Deep Blues. Yeah.
It's
That's 3,
you're
isn't it?
thinking?
I'm trying to disagree with it, but I'm like, oh wait, no, he's right. Damn it.
Yeah. Kendall?
Yeah, that's hard.
I guess I have to go with the say. I didn't think of it like that, but yeah, if you're gonna go with top 3, I mean, top 10 would have been actually because you didn't have to think that hard. But I'm gonna have to agree also.
I mean, like, see, top 3 makes it a little tricky, but
Yeah,
Olive then again did just come in second only to FTW in a big event, and then lose only to KP and Demise in another event. So it's like, I don't know. You guys without practice are still pretty strong.
Mm-hmm. That's why my top 3.
There is an argument.
Not gonna lie to you, top 10 actually would have been really easy.
Yeah. Top 10's easier than this crap.
Sorry. I think that you hit the nail on the head there, dude. Any closing thoughts you guys had today? Anything else you want to add? Okay.
Maybe
go ahead.
Maybe everybody should kind of learn from like the mid-level discussion and just try to branch out to more people and try to, network more and find people to play with and scrim with and kind of treat your networking with other people a bit more professionally and see where it takes you.
Good call.
True.
Yeah. All right. So go ahead and shout yourselves out on Twitter, social media, Twitch, wherever everybody can find you. Hitzel, let's start with you, and we'll kind of go clockwise on my screen. Hitzel, dude, Kendall. So Hitzel.
All right, cool. Well, I'm Hitzel89 on Twitter, and there you will find links to my YouTube, which is just /Hitzel, my Twitch, which is /Hitzel, and then on Discord, discord.io/Academy. The Academy is kind of my home base in Splatoon, and you'll be able to ask me any questions you want to there. If you want to reach me, pinging me in Academy is probably the best way to do that. So.
Sweet.
Or DM me.
Dude?
You can go ahead and find me on that SRB2 dude on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. And I also have a public Discord server as well. The SRB at discord.gg/that SRB2 dude. I talk there very, very often. This honestly like the only Discord I talk in as often as I can. So, you can definitely, go talk to me there.
Twitter, that_guy_Negus, and Negus on Twitch, and that's it.
Dude's the only one here who has consistent naming on all of his social media accounts. You can.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
He's the professional here.
Yeah, because even me, Acid Sunshine with a W on Twitter and a single one on Twitch, because somebody stole my Twitter name. So
yeah,
creative.
it's hard.
Yeah, it's hard.
What a nerd.
I know. But that being said, sign up for GSM Grand Prix, sign up for Summer Splat, and don't be afraid to reach out to anyone in the community. We're all here to help. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. Thank you everyone for hanging out. It has been so much fun. Thank you to our special guest, Dude, and we will see you all again very soon. So hang in there and have a great day.
Later, nerds.